Did you know that most lottery winners end up broke? They didn't have the chance to prepare for that change. They thought that the lack of funds in a bank account was what made them poor. But actually, like everyone else, poor decisions made them poor. Steven Covey, the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, wrote the foreword of another book called Prisoners of Our Thoughts. In that foreword, he talks about his sabbatical in Hawaii, where he picked up a random book from a library and read the following quote: "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Covey didn't remember the title of the book of its author, and this quote has been mistakenly attributed to Viktor Frankl over the years. But the question that intrigued Covey was, how do we navigate the space between stimulus and response to transform challenges into triumphs? Steven Covey wrote about the 7 habits of highly effective people, and I'd like to propose a slightly different approach based on the same passage of that random book to propose a framework to navigate that space between stimulus and response to not only get to where you want, but most importantly, to stay there. Here are the 7 laws of successful people. The first law of successful people is Kidlin's law. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a quicksand of problems, and the more you try to escape, the more you get pulled into it? That happens because most of our problems live in our minds. Our capacity to relive past experiences and imagine future scenarios makes us the only creatures on the planet that can suffer when not physically harmed. Kidlin's law says, by writing down a problem clearly and specifically, you solved half of the matter. Why? Because when you write down a problem, you engage in a process of mental unpacking. Writing forces you to make sense of it, breaking down the problem into more manageable parts, making it easier to approach and eventually solve it. It also externalizes the problem, allowing you to visualize it from an observer instead of a creator. So next time you feel stuck in a quicksand of problems, take a moment to write them down as clearly and specifically as you can. And by clearly and specifically, I mean, don't write just about the problem, but also your feelings, possible causes, and potential solutions. You might be surprised about how this simple act can bring a sense of control and clarity. The second law of successful people is Murphy's Law. This law says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. High achievers understand that Murphy's Law is not a pessimistic take on life, but a preparation guideline. Successful individuals harness the essence of Murphy's Law by preparing for all possible outcomes. Curiously, history shows that many innovations have stemmed from unexpected situations. Penicillin, for example, was discovered when Alexander Fleming noticed bacteria killing mold in a petri dish that was accidentally left open. So Murphy's Law might seem like a pessimistic take on life's unpredictability, but when applied thoughtfully, it embodies the essence of resilience, preparation, and adaptability. Key principles that successful people live by. The third law of successful people is Gilbert's law. This law says, when you take on a task, finding the best way to achieve the desired result is always your responsibility. This principle is critical for success because it challenges the passive mindset of waiting for instructions or blindly following predetermined paths without questioning their efficiency. How can we incorporate Gilbert's law into our lives? Think this way. The most important aspect of goal setting is not achieving the goal itself, but making you better at achieving goals. So it starts with a mindset shift. When you accept that success is a long-term game filled with short-term obstacles, you know that holding yourself accountable is the only path to consistency. Without consistency, there is no such thing as a long-term game because the game ends when you stop playing it. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi calls this autotelic motivation, which is the motivation fueled by your own intrinsic values instead of external factors. The fourth law of successful people is Wilson's law. This law says, if you prioritize knowledge and intelligence, money will flow to you. Wilson's law challenges the conventional rush for immediate financial gains, advocating instead for a long-term investment in yourself. Here's something for you to think about. Every time I see someone going online to tell others fast, simple, and easy ways to make money, I know it's a scam. Why? Because if there was a fast, easy, and simple way to make money, why would they ever tell you about it? They do because the fast, easy, and simple way to make money is by selling you the fast, easy, and simple way to make money to them. But you will still be broke because you broke the law of wealth by attempting a shortcut that doesn't exist. To do something meaningful, you have first become the type of person capable of doing something meaningful. So instead of searching for ways of making money fast, search for ways of improving your skills and knowledge fast. This will at the very least prevent you from falling for fast money-making scams. Money is energy. It flows through a natural process of learning and excellence. The fifth law of successful people is Falkland's law. This law says, if you don't have to make a decision, don't make a decision. I know, this law might seem like an endorsement of indecision, but it's actually a strategic approach to prioritization. By managing your mental and emotional resources, some situations can actually benefit from additional time for reflection or the acquisition of more information. So next time you have to make an important decision, ask yourself, do I have to make this decision right now? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to wait, gather more information, or simply let the situation evolve. Falkland's law reminds us that success is not just about the decisions we make, but also knowing when to make them. The sixth law of successful people is Parkinson's law. This law says, work expends the time available for its completion. What this law is saying is that you would complete a task in one day if you had that time available. But you will complete the same task in 1 hour if you only had that time available. This happens for 3 reasons. If you have more time, you can add more complexity to tasks. If you have more time, you can deprioritize tasks. If you have more time, you can procrastinate and still complete the task on time. At its core, Parkinson's law shows a peculiar aspect of human nature. Our capacity for efficiency often shines brightest under pressure. Productivity is not doing a lot of things. It's getting a lot of results from the limited things we do. The bottom line is, you won't be successful until you start measuring your accomplishments against time. The seventh and last law of successful people is Pareto's law. This law says 80% of results come from 20% of causes. For successful people, this is a practice philosophy aimed at achieving more results from the least amount of effort. In personal productivity, for example, it could mean identifying 20% of your activities that contribute to 80% of your happiness and fulfillment. The key is to analyze your activities and the results to find where this critical 20% lies. Pareto's law teaches us that success is not only about how much we do, but about how effectively we use our time and resources to focus on what truly matters. That doesn't mean you have to simply drop the 80%. Pareto's law talks about priority, not selection. You still have to work on the 80%. This is important because we live in a social media society where everyone is quoting everyone based on clickbait with no source. And sometimes untrue ideas get popularized. That doesn't mean they carry any value. One of these untrue ideas is that you will be successful in life by working smart, not hard. Do you want to be successful at anything in your life by your own standards? So work hard, smart, and long hours. These are the 7 laws of successful people. The journey to success is marked by the choices we make in the space between stimulus and response. It's in this space that you have the power to shape your destiny. A choice is where your past and future meet.